The honourable member for Clacton is not here representing his constituencies in the House that he was elected to. No, he's flown to America to badmouth and talk down our country. And worse than that, Mr. Speaker, if you can believe it, he's gone there to lobby the Americans to impose sanctions on this country which will harm working people. You cannot get more unpatriotic than that.
British politics just changed forever, and nobody saw it coming. While Keir Starmer was busy trying to look like a strong leader, Nigel Farage just pulled off something that will haunt Labour for years. Let me tell you what happened. Reform UK, Farage's party, has just become the biggest political party in Britain by membership. Yes, you heard that right. They overtook Labour. This isn't some poll or guess. These are real numbers, and they tell a shocking story.
Nigel Farage, reported overnight to police by a former member of his campaign team over claims of falsified election expenses. Both sides of the coin. If you put yourself in public life, you're there to be scrutinised. Richard Tice came on at 7 and went, nah, hold on a minute. This is a disgruntled ex-employee who we threw out for reasons that I can't go into, but they were quite telling reasons. He says, as do many of the viewers and listeners, this is just the establishment panicking its bits off and they will throw whatever they have to.
Reform UK now has 269,000 members. Since the last election, they've grown by over 300%. They started with just 61,000 members. Now look at them. Labour, on the other hand, is falling apart. They dropped below 250,000 members. They lost over 100,000 members since winning the election last year. Think about that. They won the election and people are still leaving. It's like watching a ship sink in slow motion. Farage didn't waste any time celebrating. He said, "The secret is finally out." Reform has now overtaken the Labour Party to become the biggest political party in the UK. He also said, "This marks the gravestone of Britain's old two-party system." And he's not wrong. This is huge because political parties need people on the ground. They need volunteers knocking on doors, handing out leaflets, talking to voters. Labour used to have thousands of these activists. That was their big advantage. Now Farage has more. Farage made it clear when he said, their network of branch activists is flourishing and Reform now has the manpower to take on the political establishment and win. That's not just talk. They're proving it. Reform is winning elections in places they shouldn't win. They just won a council seat in West Lothian, Scotland. This was supposed to be safe Labour territory. Reform came out of nowhere and took it. They also won big in May's local elections across England. So what's Labour doing about all this? Nothing. They won't even talk about the membership numbers. When reporters ask, Labour spokespeople say they do not give a running commentary on them throughout the year. That's just fancy talk for, we don't want to admit how bad things are. People are leaving Labour for real reasons. Members don't like Starmer's centrist policies. They're angry about things like the two-child benefit cap. They think Labour isn't doing enough about the cost of living crisis, so they're walking out the door, and many are joining Reform. But membership problems aren't Starmer's only headache. He faced a brutal grilling from MPs on December 15th. The liaison committee, which is made up of senior MPs from all parties, asked him tough questions about everything going wrong. The worst moment came when Labour MP Cat Smith asked about farmers. She said farmers in her area feel misled by Labour. Starmer then confirmed something absolutely chilling. He admitted he knows farmers are thinking about ending their own lives to avoid paying inheritance tax. The new inheritance tax on farms kicks in next April. Some farmers see no other way out. Starmer knows this, yet he refuses to change the policy. Conservative Party Chairman Kevin Hollinrake said Starmer has acknowledged that farmers are taking their own lives following the introduction of his family farm tax, yet he still refuses to change course. Then there's the junior doctors' strikes starting December 17th. Starmer called it irresponsible at any time, particularly at the moment. He said the strikes come on the back of a very substantial pay increase last year. He also said, "I think they have lost the sympathy of the country. Frankly, I think they have lost the sympathy of their colleagues." Strong words, but many people wonder if Starmer is just trying to sound tough while his government falls apart around him. MPs also tore him apart over government standards. Ministers keep announcing big policies outside Parliament where MPs can't question them. They publish important updates right before breaks, so nobody can challenge them. When asked why he lied about teacher numbers at Prime Minister's questions, Starmer had no good answer. Things got awkward when someone asked about Labour leadership speculation. Starmer tried to joke, saying, "No, I'm not sure I can. It seems to be pretty rife." The committee actually laughed, which is rare, but the fact that people are openly talking about replacing him shows how weak he looks. Starmer also claimed he sacked someone for leaking government information, but nobody's heard about this before. He couldn't say when or who. It sounded like he was making it up on the spot. Then, there's his war with Farage over racism claims. Back in November, The Guardian reported that Farage made racist and anti-Semitic comments when he was at private school. 20 people told the newspaper they saw or experienced this abuse over 6 years. Reform UK says the allegations are entirely without foundation. But Starmer went hard after Farage. He called him spineless and said, "If that had been someone in my party, I'd have dealt with it straight away." He was talking about Sarah Pochin, a Reform MP who said, "It drives me mad when I see adverts full of black people, full of Asian people, full of people who are basically anything other than white." Pochin said this doesn't reflect our society. She apologized, but Starmer called it shocking racism. Farage said it was ugly, but not meant to be racist. Pochin is still a Reform MP. Farage hit back at Starmer hard. He said, "For the weakest Prime Minister in living memory to call me spineless is utterly ludicrous." He added, "The voters will have their say on both of us at the ballot box next May." A Reform source said Starmer is just desperate, sinking in the polls and lashing out. Another fight between them involves puberty blockers. Farage and 4 other MPs wrote to Starmer demanding he stop a trial that would give these drugs to children as young as 10. Farage called it state-sponsored child abuse. The letter said the trial will expose already vulnerable children to life-changing and irreversible consequences, the full extent of which is unknown. It said, using children as experimental subjects in this way is ethically indefensible. Health Secretary Wes Streeting said he's deeply uncomfortable with the trial, but wants to follow clinical advice. The trial is going ahead. But perhaps the biggest insult to Farage came when Starmer announced new members of the House of Lords. Starmer appointed 34 new peers. Labour got 25. The Liberal Democrats got 5. The Conservatives got 3. Reform UK got 0. Farage had written to Starmer back in August asking for Reform to get representation. He pointed out that smaller parties with fewer MPs than Reform have Lords seats. Starmer never even replied. Farage posted on social media saying Starmer didn't give me the courtesy of a response, despite Reform winning the elections in May. He added, "This makes me more determined to smash the political establishment than ever. Consider this, the Green Party, Plaid Cymru and the Ulster Unionist Party have 13 peers between them. The Liberal Democrats have 76 peers despite winning just 12% of the vote. Reform has none." Some people say Starmer isn't just failing to stop the far right, they say he's actually helping them. One opinion writer pointed out that after the biggest far-right rally in British history, where over 100,000 people chanted, "Send them back," Starmer barely condemned the racism. When migrants were burned out of their homes in Northern Ireland and a mosque was petrol-bombed, Starmer mainly talked about attacks on police. He gave Muslims only the bare minimum promise of safety. Even worse, Labour posted an advertisement bragging that Starmer removed over 35,000 people from the UK. Some people asked why vote for Farage when Starmer is doing the same things. The truth is simple. Starmer is losing on every front. He's losing members to Reform. He's losing respect from his own MPs. He's losing moral authority on racism. And he's losing the trust of voters who thought Labour would be different. Meanwhile, Farage keeps winning. More members, more seats, more influence. The two-party system that dominated British politics for generations is dying, and Starmer is helping kill it.